Good morning, students. It's me, Miss Tanya, and today we are back with another lesson. As you all know, that we have finally completed the history portion. So today we are taking a start with a new chapter of geography, and the name of that chapter is Introduction to Agriculture. In this chapter, we are going to study in detail about agriculture, their impacts, and which things are included in agriculture. Well, this chapter is really interesting, and you are going to enjoy this chapter with us. But before moving forward, hurry up, grab your notebook along with pencil and pen and start noting the important pointers. And yes, you are already familiar with the other guidelines. So let's get started. Now, according to SLO number 5.3.1, which says that describe the major forms of agriculture in Pakistan, small scale, subsistence, cash crop farming. So, according to this SLO, it has been asked that we have to describe the major forms of agriculture. It means that how many types of agriculture are there in Pakistan. So, we are going to study about small scale subsistence and we are going to study about cash crop farming. Well, these two are the main agricultural farming in Pakistan, but yes, there are subdivisions as well, which we are going to study further. But before moving forward, let's just start with the definition of agriculture. It describes the practice of growing crops or raising animals. It means that agriculture is basically dependent upon growing crops. Why do we grow crops? We grow crops to satisfy our living needs, to satisfy our basic necessities, to look after our family. Because obviously, we need some intake for the survival of us and for the survival of all those family members who are into our surrounding or raising animals. Obviously, if you have animals and you're raising them, then you're utilizing those animals for to fulfill the basic food needs of your family. In another term, someone who works as a farmer is in the agricultural industry. So obviously, the person who works in the agricultural industry is known as the farmer, and the work of the farmer is to look after the animals and to grow crops. Now, agriculture. Agriculture describes the practice of growing crops or raising animals, which we have already studied in the previous one. Someone who works as a farmer is in the agricultural industry, and this thing we have already studied in the previous slide. Coming towards the next part, the Latin root of agriculture is agri, means field, and cultura means cultivation. When we break the terminology agriculture, then agri basically means that here we are talking about fields. Fields can be of any type. It can be of, vegetable fields, or it can be fruits fields. It can be any sort of field. And cultura means cultivation. It means that when the crops are grown, we are cultivating the crops and then we are utilizing those crops, how we are selling those products into the industries and to the international markets. And yes, we are keeping the products with us to satisfy our basic needs too. So cultivating a piece of land or planting and growing food plants on it is largely what agriculture means. So in short, agriculture basically means that you're planting and you are growing the food plants. You are growing the food plants to satisfy your needs and the needs of others. And yes, there is a piece of land on which you are cultivating and on which you are growing the crops. I hope the definition of agriculture is pretty much clear now. And once again, I repeat, I am describing each and everything in detail because there were multiple MCQs which came from the past papers. So kindly be with me and try to understand each and every point. Now, agriculture. Well, there is a picture over here which you can see. Agriculture means all of these things because obviously, when we are growing crops, we not only need one thing, but we have to think of another basic necessities as well. Now, small scale subsistence farming. I have already told you this thing before as well, that kindly try to break the terminology by yourself and then read the definition. So, if I skip the definition, and if I emphasize only on the heading which is over here, so small means that we are talking about something which is small, which is not larger in quantity. Scale means that we are talking about something which is in smaller quantity, right? Subsistence basically means survival, that you are surviving for something or you are doing something for the survival. And yes, farming means agriculture. So it is a form of farming in which nearly all of the crops or livestock raised are used to maintain the farmer and farmer's family, leaving little, if any, surplus for sale or trade. Now, when we talk about subsistence farming, it basically means that a small scale farming is done in which different crops are grown, in which different animals are raised just to fulfill the basic needs of the farmer and the farmer's family. And if, for example, but it happens not in every condition, it happens very little, that if you're having something left behind in surplus, it means if you're having something left behind in a larger quantity, then finally you just go for sale or trade, but it happens in lesser quantity, not on the large scale. So there is also a diagram which is given on the right side, which you can see. This farm is basically known as subsistence farming. It means survival of your family. Now coming towards the importance of small scale subsistence farming. Small scale farming promotes communities. Scale farms renew a link between the food people eat and the land they live on. Obviously, they create a link between different communities, because when we talk about the farming life, so there are around like 4 to 5 families who are living together, and we have to look after all of those families. So they are having a strong bond in between, and with that strong bond, there is a they renew the link between the food people, obviously the intake of the food which they are utilizing, and then the land they live on. So they are caring for both of the things. Then small farms create jobs, obviously. We do prefer to give jobs to those people in farms who are already a part of our family. It means family business, in short. Now, but then on optional case, if you are having a small family, and if you want to expand your business, then finally you are giving jobs to the other people who live into the neighborhood. Then the third point, small farms improve the health of the land. Yes, obviously it does improve the health of the land. And then the fourth point, small farm improve the health of the people as well, because the things which you're growing, you're utilizing all of those things. Now let's come upon the cash crop farming. A cash crop or profit crop is an agriculture crop which is grown to sell for profit. It is typically purchased by parties separate from a farm. Now, when I talk about the terminology which is written over here, cash means that here we are talking about money, crop means that we are growing products, and then farming means that we are cultivating them. So, according to this definition, cash crop farm means that whatever you're growing, you're selling it in the international markets. And yes, there is a separate land to grow all of these crops. So that is the major difference between subsistence farming and cash crop farming. There is a picture which is given on the left side, which you can see. Well, this is a farm, and you can see that there are multiple workers who are working onto this farm. And if I talk about the picture, then picture states that this is the farm of rice. Now, coming towards the next part of cash cropping. What is it? Cash crops are crops that are grown for the purpose of making profit. The most popular way is monocropping, which is growing of a single crop on a piece of land. So we have already discussed about the definition in the previous slide. Now let's come upon to the advantages of cash cropping. Can be source for living for farmers as well as bake for the farm workers. Can be grown and sold faster, promoting efficiency. It means that it is also benefiting the family of the workers. It is also generating a profit which can be sold faster to the international markets, and then the profit can be gained fastly. Now, coming upon the disadvantages, the production of certain food crops may become limited. Continuous monocropping is associated with soil degradation and an increase of insects and pests. It means that we cannot utilize the soil on which the crops are grown repeatedly. We need a break as well. If we are not giving the soil a break, then automatically it can increase the insects and pests, and it can destroy the soil. Now, the difference between cash crop and food crop. Cash crop means that you are growing crops for profit, and food crop means that you are growing crops for the utilization. Now, coming upon to this one, cash crop means that cash crop refers to the crop used for commercial purpose. Commercial basically means that you are selling those products into the international markets. And then food crop refers to the crop that is edible. It means that you can utilize it and you can eat those crops. These crops are edible as well, but you're not utilizing for your own purpose. And if you're utilizing that, then there is a lesser amount of utilization. But in food crop, you're utilizing more. Cash crop is grown for the profit, for the purpose of profit, and food crops can be used for human consumption. So I have already told this point and explained in detail. Coming towards the third point, these crops are grown for selling on a large scale. Obviously, you're selling these products on a large scale. And then food crop, these crops are used by the farmer's family. So you are utilizing these crops, not only you, but yes, your family as well. Example of cash crop farming is tea and coffee, and the example of food crop is wheat and rice. So the difference between food crops and cash crops, you can see there is a picture which is given over here, which tell you about the different products of food crops and cash crops. Well, food crops include soya beans, sunflower, rice, maize, barley, clams, wheat, bajra. But these are not only the food crops, there are other food crops as well, but few of them are shown in this picture. Coming towards the cash crop farming, that is sugarcane, cotton, coffee, and tobacco. Now, the importance of cash crop farming. Cash crop generates greater income than food crops since they are grown mainly for sale and not for consumption. Generate employment where the cash crop can be processed and promote economic diversification. It generates revenue to the nation. It provides export products and it provides employment opportunities. But let me tell you the summary of all of these points. It means that it is giving you employment opportunity. Whatever profit you are gaining from that, you can utilize that profit just to expand your business. You can reinvest into your business again and again. The sale power is increasing. With the passage of time, there are economic diversifications. It means that from economic point of view, you are growing. Exporting rates are increasing day by day. So these all are the benefits which you are getting from them. Now coming towards the livestock. Livestock is commonly defined as domesticated animals raised in an agriculture setting to produce labor and commodities such as meat, eggs, milk, fur, leather, and wool. When I talk about livestock farming, then the animals are basically utilized for multiple purposes. And what are those multiple purposes? We are going to study in detail in the next part. So just wait for the next part. Until here, I am just winding up my lecture. If you people are having any sort of questions, so definitely you can ask me on KP, or if you can ask me even on my channel where we are connected. Inshallah, we'll return back with the second part of livestock farming. Till then, take care, barakallah, and